In India, gold is not an investment. Gold is religion. Gold is culture. Gold is the dowry. Gold is the family's safety net for 1,000 years. When an Indian family has money, they do not buy stocks. They do not buy bonds. They buy gold. India imports $72 billion of gold per year, the most of any country on earth. And last week, the Prime Minister of India went on national television and told his people to stop buying it. Then he made it illegal to afford. Import duty on gold doubled from 6% to 15% overnight. A 1,000-year tradition taxed into submission. Nobody outside India noticed. You should. To understand why, you have to understand the crisis India is not admitting. The Indian rupee is in freefall. The Iran war shut down the Gulf. 50% of India's foreign remittances come from the Gulf from Indian workers sending money home. Those workers are coming back. The remittances are stopping. Oil imports priced in dollars are draining foreign exchange reserves. India spent $30 billion defending the rupee in recent months. Gold imports, also priced in dollars, are making it worse. $72 billion leaving the country to buy a metal that sits in a vault. India's foreign exchange reserves are hemorrhaging. The government is terrified. Reddit's R's Indian stock market this week. 930 upvotes. Why is the Indian rupee falling so much? The top answer, hot insight, why 272 upvotes. All our imports are priced in dollars. When we buy oil, gold, etc., the importer has to buy dollars to pay. Rupee goes down. They understood the mechanism. What they didn't understand is that their government was about to punish them for it. So the government chose a target. Not oil, not defense, gold. The import duty on gold went from 6% to 15%. That is a 150% increase overnight. 10% basic customs duty. 5% agriculture infrastructure levy, on top of the already rising gold price. The message was clear. Stop buying gold. Stop draining dollars. Protect the rupee. But gold in India is not a discretionary purchase. It is woven into the culture. It is the wedding gift. It is the religious offering. It is the only financial security most Indian families have ever known. Reddit's RR United States of India 282 upvotes this week. The Indian jewelry industry is being punished for problems it didn't create. Import duty jumps from 6% to 15% because the government wants to protect forex reserves. So basically, the jewelry industry becomes the sacrifice. The top comment, 91 upvotes. It is always going to be the common population that suffers. Politicians are always going to be fine. Ultra-rich people are always going to be fine. It is only people like you and me that are going to suffer due to government incompetency. Indians are not angry about the tax. They are angry about the hypocrisy. Modi asked the middle class to stop buying gold while wearing a Louis Vuitton suit. Here is why the tax will fail. Indians do not buy gold because they want to. They buy gold because they have to. The rupee has been devaluing for decades. Inflation eats savings. Bank deposits pay negative real returns. The stock market is volatile. Real estate is illiquid. Gold is the one thing that has never in 1,000 years lost its value in India. Reddit's R Indian stock market. The top comment on the Modi gold appeal. I'll be buying more gold. Period. This government's inability to control finances and taxes is not my concern. 51 upvotes. Another. Asking people to stop buying gold is basically asking them to absorb the cost of the government's economic mismanagement. If you put your money in bank FDs, you are getting paid in a constantly devaluing currency, and then getting taxed on the interest. 10 upvotes. The Indian people understand what their government does not. You cannot tax a cultural imperative into submission. You can only drive it underground. But this is not just an Indian story. India is the world's second-largest gold consumer. When India taxes gold at 15%, it removes one of the largest sources of demand from the global market. But here is the paradox. The tax is designed to save the rupee. The rupee is falling because of the dollar. The dollar is rising because of the war. The war is driving treasury yields up. Everything is connected. In Episode 8, India's Master Play, we showed you how India was playing both sides of the financial world. Buying Russian oil in rupees. Trading with Iran outside the dollar. Accumulating gold as insurance. Now India is being forced to choose. Protect the rupee and sacrifice gold, or protect gold and sacrifice the rupee. This is the trap that every non-dollar economy faces when the dollar system comes under stress. You cannot escape the dollar without paying a price, and that price is always paid by the people who can least afford it. There is a historical parallel that should alarm every Indian. In 1956, Britain faced a currency crisis. The Suez War was draining reserves. The pound was under attack. Britain went to the IMF and was forced to choose: abandon the war or abandon the currency. Britain abandoned the war and lost its status as a global power in the same week. India is not Britain. India is not abandoning a war. But India is facing the same choice: defend the currency at any cost or accept the devaluation and everything that comes with it. The 15% gold tax is the cost. The common people pay it. The government survives for now. But Reddit's AI critical thinking, India saw the parallel clearly this week. The rupee has been in free fall way before the Iran war. The government exhausted $30 billion defending it. Now they are asking the middle class to pay the difference. India's gold tax is not a tax policy. It is a distress signal. And here is the cruelest irony. In 2015, the Indian government launched sovereign gold bonds, a way for Indians to invest in gold without importing physical metal. No dollars leaving the country. No drain on foreign exchange. It was the perfect solution. The government canceled the program in 2024. Reddit's r Indian stock market. The top comment, 71 upvotes. The PM and his team are absolute morons when it comes to handling the decline of Forex. He tried the sovereign gold bonds in 2015 and canceled issuance in 2024. Whatever he does, fails. India had the off-ramp. India built the off-ramp. India paved the off-ramp. Then, India demolished it right when it needed it most. Now there is no alternative to the 15% tax, because the government destroyed its own alternative: 1,000 years of gold, taxed overnight. Not because India stopped believing in gold, but because India could no longer afford what it believed in. The rupee is falling, the reserves are draining, the war is driving up the dollar, and the government's solution is to tax its own people's culture. This is what happens when a country is caught between the dollar system it depends on and the alternative it cannot reach. India did not declare war on gold. India declared that it is losing the war for its own currency. And the 15% tax is not a policy, it is a confession. Most people aren't watching. You are. Episode 8 showed you India's master play. Episode 14 shows you the price of playing. The gold tax, the bond market, the rare earths, 3 symptoms, 1 disease. Subscribe, because the people who see the whole picture are the ones who survive it.